All right, we're going to start with assessing skills. In 1 minute, we're going to see if anybody joins us. I'll be right back. So y'all be able to see if somebody pops on up there. No, I'm coming right back. I'm going to get me a soda pop. Lorraine's ready to go.
I am. I'm getting tired. Let's go. Where are you from? Where are you from? Daughter. Does that make sense? They'll come into white. A lot of people say. When? 13 years? 2004? Wasn't for me that damn month and I was out of here. What's that? I'll show you in circle.
Well, we don't know who it was, because we didn't transfer it. Or my brain. Oh, yeah. I did that. People, you did it okay, but you guys made it. Did y'all know them? What now? Bring that on the next one. Other than, I know she was making.
Anybody join us? All right, let's roll. Every year DPI comes out and does random inspections of schools for safety. If you have schools that are on the persistently dangerous watch list, which means they've exceeded the number of acts of crime and violence, you will be one of the schools that gets inspected for safety. Cochran usually is one of those schools. All right. If you are in a district that does not have any schools that make persistently dangerous watch list, they'll pick 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 schools at random according to size of the district. They will rarely do more than 5. Usually they do 2 or 3. The number that they can do in a day. They'll send a person out in a state car the evening before. They'll spend the night and they'll meet you at school before. They want to be there before the bus is coming. And then you'll be at a school at lunchtime so they can watch lunch, and then you'll be at a school. They'll be at a school for dismissal. Rarely will they be at one place all day long, unless that school is about to go on persistently dangerous status where they're going to start moving kids out. Thank you, Chris. So that's the 3 big things. Now, it was kind of random when that became more part of my job in CMS. That was kind of random. It was like every time they came, it was the first time. So I got out the state manual on what a super safe school is, which is like 15 pages, and I printed them all out. I put them on a little clipboard, and I went around with the state inspector, and everything she asked, I would check one of the areas and everything she looked for. And I did that for 3 years when she came, every school that she went to. And then guess what I did with that information? I created CMS's watch list state audit preparation assessment inventory for safe, orderly, and caring and physical environment. Now, we used it for we always have students talking in schools. So if you weren't on the watch list, if your district didn't have any, it wouldn't say watch list, it would just say school, state audit preparation assessment inventory. And so the point is, in your district, this district, than this building. But anywhere you were to work, there is an assessment of how safe your building is. Tonight's lesson is about observations and assessments tonight. This is one of the assessments. You need to assess your building regularly for safety. How often does state law say you have to assess your building for safety? Twice a month. Once a month on fire drill, twice a month on that safety inspection, where the assistant principal is supposed to walk around with the custodian, whoever has the biggest ring of keys, and do this twice a month. That's in, what, 115C 288, duties and responsibilities of the principal. It says twice a month you'll do a safety check. Well, what are you supposed to do? Make sure that you have something, even if you have to make your own, that your assistant principal has in their hand, and they check it off, and you sign it, and you put it in a file at your school. In case anything, God forbid, ever goes wrong, like I had a building catch on fire one time when I was principal. Kids had a fire in the stairwell, as of Burke County. But you want to have something on file that you've done your fire drill and you've done your safety inspection, because if somebody gets hurt, as we always say, it's all fun and games till somebody gets their eye put out. And then somebody wants to sue. And if you can't show proof that you've been, that your building has been safe, it's just like having the appropriate number of people in the cafeteria. I'm not telling you you're going to stop the fight against you. What I'm telling you is when we go to court, we're not going to lose the lawsuit when somebody gets hurt and sues us. That's kind of like this. I'm not telling you you're going to stop a kid from setting fire with the stairwell on fire.
Are there ratios for students to staff? Doing the cafeteria, like monitor, like count, or is it like it has to be actual staff, like people that are certain?
Anybody that's on the civilian side of the serving line counts in the adult equation.
Okay.
Can't count the lunchroom ladies who are working.
Okay.
Now, the cashiers on this sheet.
No, they're not civilians. Can't count the cashiers.
And what is the ratio again, like how many staff?
1 to 45. 1 to 45. So you'd be looking, y'all have seen this before, you're looking for your bus loading zones, make sure that kids aren't running through the buses, cars aren't driving through the buses, that you've got them separated, and that the signs are everywhere they need to be. All those things. All what I expected to have. Surveillance outside, your cameras working. Do you have signs that say, welcome to our office, go to the office? I go to schools every day. I was at one this morning. Is there a sign that clearly denotes where visitors can park and the way to the office, and all visitors must sign in at the office? Are all your signs out there? Are all your exterior doors locked at all times? Or does some nitwit prop the door open so that, you can go in and out? Chains, no chains and locks on them old panic doors with the bars on them. You're not supposed to have chains on those at any time. All those kinds of things. So this is the assessment inventory.
How often does it need to be done?
Twice a month. Your hazardous none of your hazardous chemicals are on the floor. They're at least on the first shelf. Chemical storage areas labeled with appropriate hazard diagram. Chemicals are not stored on the floor or the first two lower shelves of cases. Got to be up off the floor. Can't be on the floor. Safety posters, ventilated areas. The eye wash, the bomb threat crisis response guideline are posted at the phone reception in the main office. Crisis kit is present. Everybody knows what the crisis kit is, so that's the end of that one. Here's your
Basic myself, thank you.
Yeah. Summary contents, right here you go. Aerial photo of campus, that's just, you know, the map, shows the layout. Your maps of the campus, your campus layout, blueprint of school or building, teacher employee roster. You need to have, your Vegas person is supposed to print out a new roster, put in the box every Monday with all the class lists, just like when teachers go out for fire drill, what's the one thing they're supposed to have in their hand? When I was back in my day, we had a register. Y'all don't remember register, the old yellow register. That was back in the, that was just slightly after the Stone Age. When you had a fire drill, you had to have your register in your hand. That was the official record of your students during the register. Was the register. You tore out the sheet every month and sent it in out of your register. But now you have to have your class roster from our school. So, and when you go out for a fire drill, so all your kids are accounted for. All class rosters are printed, supposed to be printed every Monday and updated, hard copy, and that process. It's supposed to be on counter in front of the school, so the emergency personnel and first responders know where it is in every school. And it needs a class list in it. Keys, fire alarm turn off procedure, sprinkler system turn off, utility valve, gas line, first aid, designated command post, cable television shut off, student photos. Student photos are optional. Incident command system, key responder list, emergency resource list, evacuation sites, disposition form, student attendance roster, and list of students with disabilities. All right. Evacuation sites. In CMS, we have 3 for each school. You have one where you evacuate on your campus, like out at the ball field. You have one that you can walk to, like a church or a business nearby, and you have one where you load the buses and go to, like a Coliseum. You need to make sure that you know that that's been updated. That's in your crisis queue. The biggest thing is you got water in there and flashlights and orange vests, but the biggest thing is update those rosters every week. That is part of your data manager job. Make sure that they update that roster every week. The class rosters of the teachers every week, because it changes. Can't do it every day, but you need to do it every week in case you have to evacuate or you have to move.
This is the same box that has like lockdown, like guy with rifle on, right? So our crisis box is in one school out of the whole cluster.
What?
Our crisis box we put together in the beginning of the year, and then we take it to one school holds all boxes.
One school holds all boxes.
That's from what I understand. We put together the crisis box, and then we take it over to another middle school, and they each take turns every year holding them. So it's in one. So
No, every school is supposed to have one.
So they respond to. That's my understanding. So like if we lock down or whatever, they'll just go to the other school, get it, and it's not like.
So what if that's the school that?
Yeah.
Every school is supposed to have a crisis box under the front counter. That's not Bill's opinion, that's state law. You're supposed to have a crisis box under the front counter of every school.
That was my understanding. I could be totally wrong, but it was my understanding. I was a look through the crisis box and help them put it together. They were under a time crunch, and of course they do it instead of helping the teacher out. They do it on their own time, and then the box disappeared, and I couldn't go through it or see what was in it because it was already shipped to the other school.
That's crazy stuff out there.
Yeah.
Update that for us. We need to know. Inquiring minds need to know. Every school has to have their own crisis box with all that stuff.
We have it.
We need to go to the other school and get our crisis box.
Now again, I could be totally like.
Yeah.
All right. SMART principles, and I expect that all of you are going to be smart. Understand that the price is bought, doing the assessment inventory, the legal stuff that makes you safe and keeps you from getting, losing your pants when you get sued. Because you will get sued, you just don't want to lose it when you get sued. All right, but SMART principles not only take those things into consideration and make sure that they do them twice a month and have their boss there and do all that. They also look at what is important on the TWC for facilities and resources in order to make sure that those things are available so that their scores will go up or be higher or get higher or go up or won't drop. And these are the things that are important in terms of facilities on the inside on the day-to-day working conditions. Teachers have sufficient access to appropriate instructional materials, those kinds of things. You can see those, and that's straight off the TWC. So when we talk about assessment, you got, your physical plan comes first, the legal stuff. Now, we can move to different forms of assessment and observation. But this one, in my opinion, you got to do the basic stuff first, and that's safety and security. So that's what that is. All right. So after we are assessing skills, I wish that you had been with me Monday morning at Central Elementary School. The principal there, she's a dynamo. She's just a dynamo. She's not, I say this, she's not a young lady, but she's a dynamo. I was most impressed with her. And she gave about a 5-minute impromptu discussion about the importance of EVOS in planning. If you can utilize that technology, it tells you which teachers do the best with which kinds of kids. Some teachers do better with the higher ones, some with the lower, some with the middle. But your planning planning is about 3 things: master schedule, duty roster, supervision schedule, what you did in your own lab. Those are the 3 things that you got to do every year that require that we call planning. And your master schedule should be pretty much determined by EVOS. And y'all remember EVOS. Y'all saw this in 602, what EVOS is. It projects what it takes to get a year's growth out of a kid. And different teachers work better with different kids. And you've got to take that data, and you should be making planning decisions and staff development decisions. Here's your staff development model again. You should be making these based on real data, not just any, meeny, miny, mo. You should be looking at EVOS to tell you what teachers should be teaching what kinds of kids in your planning skills. We talked about this. We talked about assigning teachers duty roster during the day, car duty, bus duty, those kinds of things. Certain teachers are better at certain aspects of it. Some people are normally cheerful in the morning, and they're the good people who can be the car riders in the morning and the parents, the buses. Some folks aren't. And we also talked about the fallacy of putting a sign-up sheet in the lounge for after-school activities. Those need to be planned just like any other. So you're planning. You've got your assessment, which is for your facilities. You've got your planning for your schedules of the day. And then, of course, you've got the third part of tonight that you read about was observing skills. You need to be looking, of course, high yield strategies. What the research says, what gains you get, how it looks in the classroom. Marzano, you need to be looking for these things. When you're doing walkthroughs, here's the Marzano one, and I've got another Marzano. I've got the quick one here. But these are what you're looking for when you're observing. And of course, you're going to use the teacher observation evaluation method. This is the process and the paperwork and all those kinds of things. But the biggie to me on this one, this is the formal observation. The biggie to me on this is making sure that you understand, as an assistant principal, as a prospective assistant principal, is the teacher evaluation matrix does not arrive at your school. You have to determine that in terms of who we're going to do and how many times. And, you get something from HR that tells you how many times your people need to be evaluated, but you put the matrix together and divide them up among the administrative staff.
So ours was done this summer. I sat out on that meeting.
And you know that, you got 40 teachers and 5 of them are beginners. They need 4 evaluations or observations, 4 formal during the year.
3 beginning week 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4.
And then career week 2.
Right. It's either 4 or 2. So according to what ratio of beginning teachers and new ones you got, you know how many you got, and you know how many people you got to divide them among, and they've got to be done in rounds. What is it, 4 rounds?
They do in our had 3.
They're doing 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Some districts do them in 4.
But the 4th round, some are like the peer, tier 1 take care of the 4.
Yeah, that'd be 4.
Yeah, so it'd be 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
4 rounds, I got it. You got 4 rounds, and you got so many to do each round, and you have to figure that out, divide it out. One of the bigger problems is now some districts will allow teachers to go ahead and get trained and certified to do observations. Others will make you wait to become an AD. Some will let you, once you leave the classroom, become like a facilitator or a coach or something like that. They'll let you get trained to do observations. And one of the drawbacks to getting hired as a brand new assistant principal is if you're going to a school that has a lot of new teachers, where they have a lot of observations, and you're not up to speed where you can't do those yet, you're going to get hired. But they know they're going to be snowed under. That's one of the reasons why that folks don't get renewed. I was in Stanley County recently. They're doing 1-year AP contracts. Charlotte Mecklenburg's doing 2-year contracts, where every year and a half they make a decision on them. Iowa State was doing 2. Stanley's doing 1. Some more doing 1. And you don't have time to get good. You got to be good from the very beginning. And so, there's one thing I can tell you that you should try to get done in preparation for your first AP job, to see if you can get the district and train you to do teacher observations, so that as soon as you walk in the door, you can do your part of the observation. Know what you're looking for. You're looking for those high-yield strategies, but get certified so you'll know how to do the process. It's a legalistic process because people's careers and jobs.
That's not a state mandate though to train. From my understanding, there's no training in Union County. You just learn to do it.
Yeah, there is. There's training. You have to be certified by the district to do it. You can't just, I'd love to see you. Gosh, I'd love for some people to have a court against me. Wouldn't you love to show up in court? A teacher is suing you because you claiming wrongful termination, and you say, well, why did you let this person go? Well, these observations, how are these people trained? Well, They just did them, but they had no training, they were not certified to do this. And we're talking about people's lives here. You don't have to be certified to do walkthroughs, but to do formal observations, yes, every district has a process. You have to be certified as a teacher observer in order to do their formal observations that goes against them getting a contract, goes against their continued employment status. So yes, there is a certification system in every county that certifies you that you can do teacher observation.
Yeah, the next one is CMS that got openings with this summer.
Yes,
We found.
good for you. Good.
The first one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And just go on to that. Now.
Mm-hmm. Y'all should be eligible to take that this summer. That's great. But you can understand, you folks are volunteer teachers or are teachers. Would you just want somebody walking in off the street that wasn't certified to do observations, to do more observations, your livelihood depends upon that? I mean, Christy, what does Shay teach?
Science.
And Christy's a science teacher. What if,
The English teacher.
exactly, what if the English teacher came in? Or what if they sent me in who hadn't been in a science classroom in 40 years? Yeah. One of the things that CMS did for a while, and I hope that they discontinued, they were bringing back some old school people to do observations in places where they were running short. I mean, old school people, like older than me. Oh, Lord, that's awful. That's just awful. I'd probably burn the house down trying to light a Bunsen burner now. And, how many years has it been since I was in a chemistry lab? I taught chemistry lab, or was in physics. I'd probably blow the paper done up. See, that's just wrong, in my opinion. It's just awful. I'd much rather have young people who are maybe even classroom teachers that are trained to do it, but I mean, these are people that haven't been in the building in a real way in a long time, and haven't been in the classroom in a much longer time. And so, yeah, I would have a real problem if somebody came in and did my observation that was an old retiree like me, and it didn't go well. I'd have a real problem with that. I would question their credibility. Yes, ma'am.
Question is, the inventory, the big inventory, is that also called? That also called inventory. The equipment. Maybe that's for, it is.
Mm-hmm. Materials inventory management system, or whatever that is.
Ever figured out. Yeah, because those folks just came to our school looking for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
We have those like mayonnaise, we have special inventory form.
Mm-hmm.
It was that period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because inventory kept going out the back door.
Like when you went to sleep.
I read your discussion board. We'll talk about that when I'm not being videoed here. All right, anybody have any questions on assessing, planning, or observing? That was tonight's reading. Assessing is your inventory in your facility. Planning is your master schedule, duty roster, supervision schedule. Observing is observing teachers. You must be certified to do that by your district because you're talking about a legal process. I'm glad that all of you have signed up to go ahead and do that because that's very important as a new AP. You are able to do that. And that they don't have to divide up the observations an extra way. All right. So Ray, you're done, so you ought to go home, and I'm done. I did my 30 minutes tonight. Work on whatever you got to work on, and I'm gonna shut this down. And then Brandy and I are gonna talk.
So how do you feel about
I'm sorry, just one second, let me close this down.